Hey everyone, welcome to Coaching Changes Lives. So glad you can join us this week. Now today we're going to explore something really exciting and something that's going to be key and pivotal to your coaching practice. Now whether you're tuning in for the first time or you've known us for some time, do remember to hit the subscribe button and notification bell to stay tuned with all the latest updates we have on coaching, conversational mastery, leadership, and much more skills that we're going to talk about over the next several videos as well. Now today we're going to look at particularly the latest updates from ICF, the International Coaching Federation, on the updates for the PCC behavioral markers. Now for many years now, many people are wondering, how do we actually measure the different competencies? How do we actually assess competencies at all? How do I do my own reflection as a coach? How do I get better in my competency skills? Well, over the course of the years, ICF has spent a lot of time, a lot of research into developing what we call today as the PCC behavioral markers. So traditionally, the PCC behavior markers had several markers that we looked at, especially for those of us who are pursuing your PCC credentialing. That's the professional certified coach credentialing. So in the ICF, we have three different layers: ACC, PCC, and MCC level. So the PCC behavioral markers sets the guidelines and the goalposts for many of these competencies that we're going to look at. However, I want to make a word of caution for all of us out there. The markers are not meant as a formulaic approach to understanding coaching. It's not meant to be steps for all of us to think about what coaching is. It's not even supposed to be a marker, right? Sometimes we use the word behavior marker as a way for assessment, but really as coaches, we want to always be present in the conversation with the clients. Well, on one hand, it's nice to have all the fanciful behaviors, all these fanciful notions, you're able to achieve all the single marks, but if you are losing presence in the midst of the client, if all you're concerned about is the perfection of the questions or the perfection of the markers, then you're losing that presence with the client, the co-creative process at all. And that's why at the MCC level, we go beyond the markers. We look at the characteristics of the MCC, what a master certified coach really possesses. It's not what we know in our heads, but how do we translate that in a conversation that is natural, that it's authentic, that's real, that has that impact with our clients. Remember this, coaching, it's not about trying to ask the best questions, it's not about asking the right answers, it's not trying to help the client to get a solution. No, coaching, it's about the person. It's not about the problem. We're not trying to solve a problem, we're trying to help a person. In the co-creative process, in here, what we always talk about co-creation process, it's really about partnering the client through a thought-provoking and creative process to inspire change and maximize potential. Now here at Coaching Changes Lives, what we truly believe in is the focus on the person, the whole of the person approach, than trying to solve a problem. As such, many times people have asked me, say, hey Jedi, should I focus on solutions? Should I focus on the next problem? Should I focus on the next issues? What should I focus on? Well, my simple answer to them is this: focus on the person, because we are coaching the person, and the person is more important than the form. Right? We may have structures, we may have certain models, we may have certain frameworks, but you know what? Models and frameworks don't change lives. Coaching changes lives, and that's why our company is called Coaching Changes Lives. And Coaching Changes Lives is Asia's leading voice for coaching certification and credentialing all over the world. And in fact, right now we are coaching people from all across the world, from Latin America to Americas, to even Philippines, in Asia, even in Europe as well. We are making a storm all around the world. Why? Because we truly believe that coaching happens and transformation happens one conversation at a time. And that's why there's so much power in coaching. In and of itself, the coach has no power. It's not about the coach, it's about the coaching process, because there's inherent value in the coaching process. It's not about me trying to show off what I know or the skills that I know or even the techniques or the tactics that I know. It's not about me. Remember, the coaching, it's not about the coach. That's why I love it that today we talk about ICF as the International Coaching Federation. In the past, it was called International Coach Federation, but we now realize it's not about a coach. It has never been about the coach. It's always been about the coaching process. And I want all of us to remember this. Wherever you're watching this from, this video, it's meant for you to understand and for you to be able to possess and for you to really take time to consider all the points we've been covering in this video. It's not about trying to hit the markers right. It's not about trying to be perfect. It's about having that wonderful conversation, an authentic conversation, a real conversation with someone else. Forgetting about all the preconceived judgments and ideas and all the different steps and all the different formulas that you have in mind, put that all aside. I want you to just enjoy the process of coaching. Remember, the thing about coaching is that it's a human-to-human interaction. It's not something that you can put in a formula sheet. And that's why I always challenge coaches. I said, hey, I hear coaches always tell me, say, Jedi, I follow a certain model, I follow a certain process. I said, all those are great, but the day you allow the process to lead you, and that is the day where you're no longer present with the client. Remember, the best present you can ever give to your client is to be present in the moment, to create conversations that truly matters. In fact, one of the upcoming events that we run all over the world, it's conversations that matters, because you know what? We can know a ton of things. We can know thousands of models out there. We can know thousands of frameworks, but those will never change lives. It takes a conversation and being there in the moment of the client to create something that really makes sense for the client. How do we know what step to go? How do we know what questions? How do we know what reflection? How do we know how to give the insights and inquiry into the client's world? How do we make the comment? How do we shout intuition? How do we do all those things? Well, it's in that moment when we are disciplined to remember one key thing. We're coaching the person and not the problem. Okay, good. Are you all ready for this? I'm really excited to share with you, because I truly believe that this is revolutionary, and this will really help you, whether you are a student from Coaching Changes Lives, or you're considering, taking up your mentor coaching program, or maybe you're a leader, an HR professional or practitioner, or maybe you're just someone who wants to learn more about coaching. I believe this video will truly change your lives. Are you ready for this? Now, I'm going to share with you something from the ICF, and ICF has recently just launched the PCC Behavioral Markers update, which will encompass the new 8 competencies as well. So whether you're watching this in 2021 or 2022 and beyond, this video will truly impact you as well. So take time. What I want you to do is that when you watch this video, pause, come back and revisit this video again and again, and share this with your friends. Now, this is going to be important, because you want to rewatch this video again and again, because this video contains a lot of nuggets of truth. And over the course of the next several weeks, I'll be launching more in-depth videos into each one of these competencies. So do stay tuned to our YouTube video and YouTube channel as I deep dive into each one of these competencies. So if you've not yet subscribed, do hit the subscribe button and notification bell to stay tuned with all the latest updates that we have for you. Are you ready for this? Let's dive in right now. So the PCC Behavior Markers has been revised as of very recent, and this is what it says, right? I'm going to quote to you what ICF says it is. The assessment markers are the indicators that an assessor is trained to listen for to determine which ICF core competencies are in evidence in a recorded coaching conversation, and to what extent. The following markers are behaviors that represent demonstration of the core competencies in a coaching conversation at the professional certified coach level, or the PCC level. These markers support a performance evaluation process that is fair, consistent, valid, reliable, repeatable, and defensible. The PCC markers may also support coaches, coach trainers, mentor coaches in identifying areas for growth and skill development in coaching at the PCC level. However, they should always be used in the context of core competency development, and the PCC markers should not be used as a checklist in a formulaic manner for passing PCC performance evaluation. So there you have very, very clear distinction. This markers and the update to the markers are meant for one thing, which is used for core competency development. Now, together with me and my team here at Coaching Changes Lives, and all my trainers from around the world as well, we're here to support coaches in developing their core competencies to raise the whole standard to a whole new level. Too often people just read the competencies and they think they got it, right? And I always tell people, we have a training system, we have a training process. We train thoroughly our mentor coaches, we train thoroughly our coach trainers to go through and understand deeply what all this competency means. And even our students as well, who come to Coaching Changes Lives at our Mastering Coaching program and our PCC program, which is Team Leadership Performance program, to our NLP programs, to even our one of the most prestigious program called the Coaching Intelligence program, at every single level, all the way down to MCC. Every single coach trainer, every single mentor coach is thoroughly trained through a process where we help them realize it's not about not about a formulaic approach to coaching, but understanding deeply all the core competency development. Even in this channel was born from that, to share with the world what core competency development is all about. So every single video contains a nugget of truth for you out there. So whether you're from a different coaching school, I welcome you in. Whether you're a coach trainer, I'm here to teach many coach trainers. In fact, one of the things I do around the world is I train trainers. I train coach trainers around the world. I mentor them. I coach them. And this is something that I love to do. It's my passion to help all coaches around the world to level up their game and to raise the standards of coaching all around the world. So let's take a look at the next one. The very first thing that we can look at, it's what we call the competency number 1, which is demonstrates ethical practice. Now, over the course of the next several weeks as well, I'm going to lay down in more details each one of these competencies step by step. So competency number 1 demonstrates ethical practice. It says this: familiarity with the ICF Code of Ethics 2020 version and its application is required for all levels of coaching. Successful PCC candidates will demonstrate coaching that is aligned with the ICF Code of Ethics and will remain consistent in the role of coach. So we have a video for this, and I want to encourage you to watch our video on the ICF Code of Ethics and the ICF core values. Do check that out, it's really important. And I'm also going to create a more series of videos on ethics, because I think that's going to be key. Too often we neglect ethics, but ethics is key in all that we do in the coaching process, so that the clients are clear whether we are doing consulting, psychotherapy, being an advisor, being a consultant, being a lecturer, being a trainer. They're all distinct roles, and we want our clients to be clear when we are coaching them and when we're not coaching them, and that's going to be a clear delineation as well. Okay, now in competency number 2, it says this: embodies a coaching mindset. In fact, here at Coaching Changes Lives, we are one of the few companies who are the leaders of the coaching mindset. We had a whole series of programs for this to really help coaches to level up the game in their mindset. Now it says this: embodying a coaching mindset, a mindset that's open, curious, flexible, and client-centered, is a process that requires ongoing learning and development, establishing a reflective practice, and preparing for sessions. And these elements take place over the course of a coach's professional journey and cannot be fully captured in a single moment in time. However, certain elements of these competencies may be demonstrated within a coaching conversation. So how are we going to be assessing that? Well, this is how we're going to do that. These particular behaviors are articulated and assessed through the following PCC markers: 4.1, 4.3, 4.4, 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, 6.1, 6.5, 7.1, and 7.5, as with other competency areas as well. So a minimum number of these markers will need to be demonstrated to pass the PCC performance evaluation. All elements of this competency will also be evaluated in the written assessment for ICF credentials, or what we call the Coach Knowledge Assessment, the CKA. Now, one of the exciting things as well, as you're going through this video, you may be asking, say, hey, Jedi, how do I learn more about this? Where do you teach some of this? Well, I welcome you to our Mental Coaching Success Program, where we take coaches one whole year round, where we dive in deep with all these different markers. So perhaps you have taken some coach training before, but now you want to upgrade your skills as a coach. I welcome you to join us at one of our programs. Speak to one of our client support staff, speak to one of our coaches. We would love to engage with you. We will leave a contact detail down below in the comment section so you can engage us, because I want you to attend our PCC training as well. That is going to be key for you to level up your game. So whether you are in ACC or PCC or considering a coaching journey, you should sign up for this mental coaching success journey, because it's going to be really impactful for you. And if you're MCC right now, trying to pursue for your MCC, join us at the MCC mental coaching program. It's really exciting. It's life-changing. It's 1 year. We're going to go deep diving in every single core competencies, and we're not just working on the core competencies, we're working on you as a person. Because remember this, how deep you develop in yourself and how you work on yourself is going to truly matter. In fact, one of the core competencies on the coaching mindset, it's so key. Because when we talk about the coaching mindset, it's not the coach's mindset, although it involves the coach's mindset. It's not about the client's mindset, although it involves the client's mindset. But it's also involving the coaching mindset, the two-way approach, the learning and development of the coach, what's happening in the coach's mind, how the coaches prepare themselves to enter the conversation, and what do the coaches really believe in? Do they trust in themselves? Do they get too overly overwhelmed and too prideful about certain things? Or are they there in the moment with the client? Are they co-creating the moment? Too often coaches go in all directions and they're trying to develop every single thing, but they're never quite there with the client. Now, it's important for us as coaches to be there with the client and not try to do so many things, because when you try to do so many things, you're never there and never present with the client. Remember, we always say this: every single conversation matters. What we say matters. How we respond matters. And our mindset truly matters as well. Now, too often, I always tell people, when our mind's set, we're no longer growing. And often you hear this, a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. I like to say this: it's not a growth versus a fixed mindset. It's either a growth mindset or a dying mindset. Because too often we think that we're either fixed or growth. No, in fact, if you try watering a plant, it's growing. But if you stop watering a plant, the plant doesn't stay stagnant. The plant doesn't stay fixed. The plant actually dies and withers away. In the same way, what are we watering ourselves with? Are we listening to the right message of coaching, or are we getting so in tune to a certain formula of coaching? Are we so entrapped by certain steps that we need to do in coaching, or are we allowing the coaching conversation to work through us and to really see an exponential increase in our clients? Now, I teach one of the things they call exponential coaching that begins with the heart, what we call the inside-out revolution of coaching. Coaching doesn't happen outside in, it's inside out. Because you see, too often many coaches want to work on behavior modification, but behavior modification works to that extent. What really matters is the inward transformation, because inward transformation will always produce outward manifestation. And in fact, one of the key things in the whole coaching journey is understanding this clear distinction between behavior modification and inward transformation. Here at Coaching Journey Lives, we truly believe and we teach coaches how to do the deep inner work with your clients, because the deep inner work truly matters. With the alignment inside, with the clarity, with the awareness, comes the following on actions that will produce the results that is sustainable, that will produce the results that the client desires, and it's aligned to who they are and what they believe in. Now let's dive into the next competency. Competency number 3 establishes and maintains agreements. There are 3 or 4 different parts here. Part number 1, 3.1, it says this: coach partners with client to identify or reconfirm what the client wants to achieve or wants to accomplish in the session. So there's 2 parts here really. It's about identification, the what of the issue, and reconfirming the client. 3.2 says this: coach partners with the client to define or reconfirm measures of success for what the client wants to accomplish in this session. And if you missed our videos on the measure success, watch the video, because we talk about the qualitative measure and quantitative measure. And too often we hear coaches say, oh, we should give a percentage to this, we should give a scale to this. I address and demystify this in our video on the measure success. 3.3, coach inquires about or explores what is important or meaningful to the client about what they want to accomplish in a session. 3.4, coach partners with the client to define what the client believes they need to address to achieve what they want to accomplish in the session. So in competency number 3, it's all about agreement, maintaining the agreement all the way through. What's going to be key here, it's not just about setting up the agreement up front, it's about also helping the client to realize the agreement towards the middle, towards the end, and reconfirming that all the way through. So it's important also to help the client understand the resolve within, so that the client understands, hey, what am I here for? And what must I believe, to resolve in, so that I can move forward in my competencies, so I can move forward in my achievement of my outcomes. Now, look at this here. It says it inquires about or explores why it is important or meaningful to the client, because there must be a reason why the client has this sense of urgency or the sense of importance for this particular matter that the client is bringing up for. There must be a reason why the client has that need right now. So when we talk about maintaining agreement, it's all about going deeper with the client and helping the client understand in this session what is going to be key. Now, if you attend one of our programs, I often say this, right? Agreement is going to be key. Without a clear agreement up front, you'll be going all directions. You'll be going down the rabbit hole. What's going to be key here, it's understanding and getting clear about what do you want to explore in the given time you have. Sometimes the clients may come to us with a huge problem, which is okay. And in the coaching process, we want to scope it down to something that we can do in a particular session. Especially in this session, if we have only 30 minutes together, what is possible for us to accomplish? What can we explore? And the measure of success is going to be key, because that sets the KPI, the ROI of coaching as a whole. We're going to talk more about this in our upcoming videos, so do stay tuned and don't hit the subscribe button, because you don't want to miss all these videos out. Right? So I encourage you to join us in one of our mentor coaching sessions and come and attend one of our programs, because we deep dive in every single one of these competencies. All around the world, I'm teaching coaches, teaching coach trainers, teaching MCCs around the world to level up the game and help them understand the different markers, help them get a clearer perspective and different ideas for them to really incorporate all these competencies within their coaching practice. Now, the next marker, it's competency number 4. So let's take a look at that. Competency number 4 says this: it's about cultivating trust and intimacy. In 4.1, it's about the coach acknowledging and respecting the client's unique talents, insights, and work in the coaching process. And 4.2, it says coach shows support, empathy, or concern for the client. 4.3, coach acknowledges and supports the client's expression of feelings, perceptions, concerns, beliefs, or suggestions. 4.4, coach partners with client by inviting the client to respond in any way to the coach's contributions and accepts the client's response. Now, this is going to be key. Too often, I see many coaches wanting to impose a certain thought, wanting to impose a certain way, but that cannot be further from the truth. We want to support the client. We want to actually support the client in the way that they're contributing. Now, as a coach, can I share my intuition? Yes, I can, but I don't want to hold a strong attachment to my contribution. I want to allow that to come from the client, and I may offer my thoughts, my ideas, but I want the client to decide for themselves the options that they have. Remember, it's the client's will, and it's the client's responsibility in this whole process to develop something that will truly make more sense to them, that's sustainable for them, that is something that is aligned to their vision and their values as a whole. But sometimes as coaches, we may take on a consulting hat and we say, hey, Mr. Client, this is what you should go for. But you see, we need to understand that they have their own map of the world, and we have to respect the client's own map of the world. And that's the reality of all of us have different maps of the world. To each of us, we see the world in a different way, and we got to honor that in our client's world as well. Okay, in competency number 5, it's also going to be key because I enjoy competency number 5, and to me that's the foundation for many of the coaching process. Competency number 5, it's about maintaining presence. 5.1, it says this coach acts in response to the whole of the person, 5.2, coach acts in response to what the client wants to accomplish throughout the session. That's the what. 5.3, coach partners with client by supporting the client to choose what happens in the session. 5.4, coach demonstrates curiosity to learn more about the client. And in 5.5, coach allows for silence, pause, and reflection. Maintaining presence, it's more than doing. It's a state of being. Too often, many coaches want to do. They want to demonstrate certain sophistry in their coaching. They want to show what they know, what they've learned before. But you know what? At the PCC level and towards the MCC level, it's not about showing what we know. The techniques and tactics all aside, it's about being there in the moment for the client. Creating that space of silence, of rumination. In fact, one of my videos on rumination, I encourage you to watch that in our YouTube channel, about allowing the client to ruminate, to think things over, to create that space. And sometimes as coaches, right after the client has finished, we want to answer, we want to give another comment, we want to give another question, but never quite realizing that sometimes the best response is to give the space. Sometimes what the client needs more, it's not more of us, it's less of us. Sometimes what's important is that silence, because the silence creates such a moment, a precious moment for greatness to appear. Because you know what? The more we say, the more we do, the less effective it becomes. In fact, the less you say, the more it becomes. Being always precedes doing. We be first, then we do. And that's going to be key in the whole process of presence. In fact, one of the key things as well, if you want to listen well, if you want to ask powerful questions, if you want to evoke awareness, the key secret lies in presence. And I love it so much that today we talk about evoking awareness, not so much about questioning, although questioning is important, but it's also about the comments. It's also about the thoughts. It's also about the reflective inquiry. It's also about the insights and the learnings and the lessons we're drawing for the clients, integrating all that. And notice this, coaching, it's a multidisciplinary skill. It's not just a singular skill, it's across different skill sets as well. And that's going to be key in the process. Now let's take a look at the next competency. With presence comes listens actively. Core competency number 6, listens actively. In 6.1, the coach questions and observations are customized by using what the coach has learned about who the client is or the client's situation. 6.2, coach inquires about or explores the words the client uses. 6.3, coach inquires about or explores the client's emotions. And that's going to be key as well. You can ask the client, hey, how are you feeling right now? I'm sensing a little shift in your body. I'm sensing a little shift. I noticed at the start of conversation, you were a little bit more down. But right now, I can feel that your energy is rising up. And in fact, you're feeling happier right now from what I'm seeing. So inquiring about the client's emotions. 6.4, coach explores the client's energy shift, non-verbal cues or other behaviors. Sometimes your clients may shift in energy levels or their movements, their shoulder movements, their eyebrows, the tension on their face, the relaxation on their face, certain gestures, certain tempo, certain circadian rhythm. Notice all the non-verbal cues. In fact, in one of our programs, we cover in depth across multiple sessions, how do you use the body intelligence approach to understanding the person, to helping the person create deeper conversations? 6.5. Coach inquires about or explores how the client currently perceives themselves or their world. 6.6. Coach allows the client to complete speaking without interrupting unless there's a stated coaching purpose to do so. 6.7. Coach succinctly or reflects or summarizes what the client communicated to ensure the client's clarity and understanding. So in Listens Actively, there's a lot to do with reflective inquiry, inquiring into the client's world, pausing there and listening for the client's world. How did they shape their world? What words were they using? What phrase were they using? How were they saying what they were saying? And what's important here in Listens Actively, what is going to be key for us here, it's also about giving the space to the client and exploring how they perceive their world. What's the fabric of their own reality? It's not about my world, it's about understanding their world, understanding how they're operating within their world. And notice this, one of the key insights here is also utilizing what we call congruence. What we see happening in the body language, what we see happening in the words that's spoken, what we see happening in the inflection of the tones, the variation of the tones that goes up, goes down, how we're experiencing all those truly matters. All that different inflections, all the little tones, all the little shifts gives us clues to expand and explore deeper into their world. And what I want to encourage you is this: as you explore the client's world, also understand that when we listen actively, we're not listening to just what is said, but the entire totality of the client. We cover this in our team leadership coaching program. We also cover this in a transformative neuro-linguistics programming coaching. And all these programs are PCC level programs and to help you dive deeper in the conversations. And in fact, one of the most exciting things ever, it's our mastering coaching program. It's our signature program. We have coaches re-attending that program again and again and again. Why? Because every single session, they gain a new nugget. In fact, this is one of the most popular programs all around the world, and many coaches are being certified in mastering coaching because you know what? You begin in mastery, you stay in mastery, you reach to the end of mastery. Mastery is not an endpoint, it's not a destination. Mastery is a process. It's that process of never-ending improvement, unceasing greatness, and unceasing change. It's always about changing yourself, always about realizing that, hey, it's not about attaining a certain destination, it's about going towards this whole journey, a journey of destiny. This on journey of mastery, it's about your skills, getting better at skills every single day. How many of you are practicing your conversations every single day? Great athletes, great performers out there, they practice their skills every single day without fear. It's not about trying to do the best, not trying to do the next best thing. It's about being consistent, one step at a time, pursuing every single step of the time, one at a time. And that's going to be key as well for you to consider how we build all these things up as a whole. So Listens Actively begins first with us. Are we listening to ourselves as a coach, or are we listening to the client? Are we more interested in ourselves and trying to appear interesting, or are we interested in the client? That's a big distinction. Too often we want to appear interesting by using different sophistry, by using different words and vernacular to astound the client, but never realizing, quite understand that the coaching is not about us. It's not about our ego. It's not about how great we are. It's not about the titles. In fact, I want to be the shadow. I don't want to be in the forefront. The client's the forefront because this is their story. I want them to shine, not me. And that's going to be key in the coaching process. Now, this layers on the next competency, which I believe is going to be so wonderful and so impactful. It's what we call evoking awareness. Let's take a look at this. Competency number 7, evoke awareness. 7.1, it says this: coach asks questions about the client, such as their way of thinking, feeling, values, needs, wants, beliefs, or behavior. And coach asks questions to help client beyond the client's current thinking or feeling to new or expanded ways of thinking about or feeling about themselves. That's the who of the client. The coach asks questions to help client explore beyond the client current thinking or feeling to new or expanded ways of thinking or feeling about the situation. That's the what, the context. 7.4, coach asks client questions to help the client explore beyond current thinking, feeling, behaving toward the outcome of the client desires. 7.5, coach shares with no attachment, observations, intuitions, comments, thoughts, or feelings, and invites the client's exploration through verbal or tonal invitation. 7.6, coach asks clear, direct, primarily open-ended questions one at a time at a pace that allows for thinking, feeling, reflection by the client. 7.7, coach uses language that is generally clear and concise. 7.8, coach allows the client to do most of the talking. So in competency number 7, which is going to be key, it's all about evoking awareness from within. It's not about trying to force awareness. No, it's not. In fact, it's not even about trying to create awareness for the coach. It's about evoking awareness in the client's world. Helping the client to see the world a bit different. And sometimes what we call allowing the client to slow down, to smell and see the flowers, see the roses, see the things around them. Because sometimes in the pursuit of life, we are rushing, and we miss the very things that are around us, the beautiful things. And sometimes, I call this, right, there are things around us that's so beautiful, but we miss out because we are going too fast. Sometimes to go faster, you want to slow down. And in fact, one of the beautiful stories that I've heard before is the story of the butterfly. The little butterfly was flying around, and everywhere it went, it had this stench on itself. It was thinking that I smell rotten, I smell so bad, and not realizing that it was actually flying around a rubbish dump. So the poor butterfly was smelling that rubbish, and it thinks that it's not beautiful because of the smell. One day, the butterfly finally flew away, but it could still smell the lingering scent. But you know what? The butterfly had always been beautiful, had always been pretty. The smell, the lingering impact of the fears, of the setbacks, of the disappointments might be there because that's the past. But you know what? The past no longer has power over you. The past no longer has any stronghold over you because the past is in the past. It's time to let it go. Right? And one of the most important things as well for the butterfly to realize is this, that they are always beautiful. The beautiful thing didn't come from outside in, it came from inside out. Do you know, for us as human beings, one of the most interesting things as human nature is this: our beauty comes from inside out. Animals, creatures, insects get the beauty from outside in. Think about the beautiful coat of fur. Think about the beautiful array of insects, designs and patterns. But where does the beauty of a human being comes from? It comes from the heart. It comes from the spirit. It comes from the conversation. It comes from them being an authentic self. The evocation of awareness is key. It's not about trying to get more awareness for the coach. It's about the client being aware of themselves. Because the greater the level of awareness, now the client can find some alignment within what they want, who they are, and what they want to accomplish. Why they want to do what they want to do, and who is that person? Who is that person that we're speaking to? When they look at themselves in the mirror, why does my reflection show who I am inside? And that's going to be key. It's the song of many ages. People have been pursuing this same song again and again and again. Who am I? Who am I? This leads us to the next competency, competency number 8, and it says this. Competency number 8, it's one of the key things, which is facilitates clients' growth. 8.1, it says this. Coach invites or allow client to explore progress toward what the client wanted to accomplish in the session. Coach invites client to state or explore the client's learning in the session about themselves, the who. 8.3, coach invites the client to state or explore the client's learnings in the session about the situation, that's the what. 8.4, coach invites the client to consider how they will use the new learnings from this coaching session. 8.5, coach partners with client to design post-session thinking, reflection or action. 8.6, coach partners with client to consider how to move forward, including resources, support or potential barrier. 8.7, coach partners with the client to design the best methods of accountability for selves. 8.8, coach celebrates the client's progress and learning. 8.9, coach partners with client on how they want to complete the session. So my thought for you is this. Are we missing anything from today? How would you like to end this conversation today? What else would you like to explore? How would you like me to check in with you in the next session? What would be different for your coaching after watching this video? What would change for you? How would you expand your minds and your thoughts and the way you think about all these different markers? In fact, if by the end of this video you said, Jedi, wow, I'm going to accomplish all these different markers, then you've just missed the big thing. Because it's not about trying to accomplish all these markers. It's about trying to internalize them. You're not trying to do them. You're trying to internalize them and what it truly means to carry a conversation that truly matters. And what it truly means that coaching changes lives. Coaching changes lives is in the blood vein of every single coach. Down to every MCCs that are out there, every PCCs that are out there, every ACCs that are out there, they are all there because they truly believe that coaching changes lives. This is not just my company's name. This is not just a name that we believe in. This is the motto of the entire coaching world, the coaching community. It's that coaching conversations truly changes lives, one conversation at a time. The transformation happens, right? Every single conversation. It doesn't mean what we say. Sometimes it can be the pauses that creates the breakthrough. And I always say this, your breakthrough is just a step away. Your clients may be thinking, how am I going to reach my breakthrough? How far am I from my outcome? But you know what? You're helping the client to realize that, hey, they're closer to their success than they think they are. Because they can turn every setbacks into their greatest comebacks. Every disappointment to their very appointment for success, to the appointment for the next growth level. When we facilitate the learning's growth, we're helping the client to realize that there are insights, there's learnings that we can gather, that we can use, that we can glean from. All these beautiful things are not separated. All these beautiful things can be there to help the client, to support them, to make their world a whole new world. I love the song about a whole new world. Don't you dare close your eyes. We want the clients to really realize this, that hey, every step of the way, it's beautiful. Enjoy the process. You know what? Sometimes when we reach the destination, then we only realize that hey, we miss out every single thing. I realize that I speak to many parents. In fact, one of the things that we do is parenting coaching as well. And I speak to so many parents and they always have to tell me, they said, my kids grew up too fast. And I ask them one question. When was the last time you enjoyed a day with your child without thinking about the next destination, without thinking about the next tuition class or the next activity they need to send them for, but really just spending time with them in that moment, not thinking about the next thing, but being there in the moment with them, present, not being in the future. Too often we're either stuck in the past or we're stuck in the future. But you know what? The future or the tomorrow has its own worries for itself. We have to be present in the moment, co-creating this moment experience with the client. In fact, one of the things we teach here at Coaching Changes Lives is this. How do we co-create that moment? The co-creative catalytic experience. Conversations are catalysts for change, catalysts for transformation. Conversations will allow us to deep dive, allows us to pivot the client, allows us to explore the client, allows us to create a whole new dimensionality the client has never experienced before. Conversations has this ability. In fact, conversations have the power to lead an entire army. Conversations has the power to raise and rise up nations. In fact, here in Singapore, it was that very conversation that brought us from a third world country to a first world country in a short span of 55 years. Why was that possible? Because it was a conversation. Now think about this. When was the last time a question changed your life? When was the last time a comment changed your life? When was the last time a word changed your life? In fact, words have power. Life and death are in the tongue. How we speak to ourselves and what we say to our clients truly matter. Because our clients look up to us as coaches, as a beacon of hope, as a place where they can be who they are, in a place where they know that possibilities ignite. As a coach, one of the key things is to help our clients see the greatness within. One of the things I love to do is to teach coaches how do we draw out the greatness within from the client. It's not about trying to force something. It's not about trying to get the client from good to great. No, it's about helping the client to realize that they are already great. There's greatness within them, and we are helping them to shine the greatness in all areas of their lives. The beauty about the human journey is this. The journey is an imperfect one, but you know what? Because it's imperfect, there's beauty there. Because it's imperfect, there's something to love there. What is there to love if you are perfect? The reason we can love is because love is love when we can love something unconditionally. Regardless of the merits, regardless of whatever, we can truly love our clients. We can love them to wholeness. In the same way, my trust is in this. When we share this PCC markers, our experience is not about trying to get the markers right. No, it's about helping us to become a better person. The personhood is going to be key. It's not about the position of the coach, it's about the person of the coach. Who is that person we're speaking to today? Who am I speaking to today? Perhaps you're a coach. You've been through many coaching trainings before. But when was the last time you asked yourself this question? Who am I in this process? what am I in this process? Why am I in this process? My approach to coaching is really simple. It's not about us, it's about the client. It's about partnering with them in this journey towards a certain destination, and the destination rests in the destiny. Because in the destiny, they're destined for great things. Our clients are destined to reign in their lives, and the core in our lives as coaches is to be there with the client, to be present in the moment, and to always remember this one thing, that conversations matter, and our conversation with them in the present moment will create such a seismic shift in thought that will inspire action. Our work as coaches is not to change the action, not to change the behaviors. Our work as coaches is to help them expand awareness, create alignment within themselves, and the motivation and drives happen. We don't try to focus on motivation, we focus on the alignment, focus on the person. Because when the person is aligned, motivation happens. We don't have to force motivation, motivation happens. The beauty about action, the beauty about solutions, it's not about the solution and action, it's about the solutioning. It's not about the questions, it's about the questioning. And the beauty about coaching is not the coach, it's the coaching process. It's this ongoing process of change, learning, development, and insights. And I want to welcome you into the whole world of coaching as we explore deeper over the next several weeks and years together. I hope this channel, this YouTube channel, will be an inspiration to coaches all around the world, regardless from which school you come from, regardless from your background, and whether you are beginning as journey as a coach, you are ACC, PCC, MCC, or you're on this learning journey. I hope this videos will encourage you, inspire you. And you'd like to get in touch with us and join us in one of our programs, do connect with us in our description box below. We'll lay down a lot of exciting programs up and coming for all coaches around the world to tune in, because we truly believe in this, that coaching changes lives. And I welcome you to join us in this amazing journey.